Today, guys, I'm working on a Pacific fort. And here's some little branches Ethan's going to cut off, but for some reason, he's going to cut right here. This is going to cut right here for my seat. I'm making a seat when he gets back from school. And my dad kind of actually cut down these trees to not block the solar panels. We want more power than you thought. And I'm doing shovel work because I like mountaintops. I like mountaintops. That's for sure. I like mountaintops, actually.
Okay, so you saw me in an earlier video install all this piping right here with the check valves. The check valves are important to have one. It's important to have one on each side of your pump. This one right here, this is on the discharge end, keeps water from coming back and going back through into the pump, right? Because of gravity, right? Now, this other one down here is to keep water. This is the inlet port. That's to keep the water from going back out. That keeps the pump primed. Otherwise, you could hurt your pump or it just won't pump water. Now, the problem that I created here is this check valve is too high. Our tank, our water tank, sits about 3 feet lower. The bottom of the tank sits about 3 feet lower than our pump. So if you can imagine, if the water level starts to go below the height of our pump here, my fear is that the water that's down below the check valve will start to go down as well, kind of like a siphon type of situation. So what I have to do, unfortunately, I'm gonna cut this out and then just have straight pipe right here, and I'm actually gonna go put a check valve in the ground right outside here, so that then it will be at the lowest point that our tank is at as well, and we won't ever have a problem if our tank gets say below 3 feet anywhere. You know, even down to one. If we get down to 1 foot in there, we can still pump water, because the check valve will keep water in the pipe all the way up to the pump. It's supposed to keep water from flowing backwards, basically. It only lets water flow in one direction. So that's what I got to do now, is cut this out, replace it with just pipe, and then go put the check valve outside. And then on top of that, check valves don't last forever, unfortunately. So I'll have to have access to this check valve. I got to build another box. I can tell you right now, it will not be out of cement. Although that was a cheap route to go, it was definitely labor intensive building that box for the shutoff valve. So I don't know what I'm going to make it out of yet, but I got to cut this out now. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That looks wild.
I know. It's because everything's threaded. Well, everything except for the check valve's not threaded.
Right.
So I got this male adapter, piece of pipe in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it threads into the union, and then I have to thread the union onto another male adapter.
Mm.
And same thing on that side. So if this fails, you loosen these two up and pull that whole thing out,
right,
and put a new one in. Some of that fell down. I'll have to redo it. The reason I'm putting spray foam in here is I want to keep dirt from falling down between the tank and the box, mostly to protect that valve as much as I can. I'm not trying to put a thick layer of spray foam because as things settle and I want it to be able to break loose from here, which it shouldn't have any problem doing. I gotta wait for this to set up and then I'll come and fill the gaps in that are left. Also, I went ahead and stuffed the insulation in the holes here where the pipes go through and in here. And you saw me put these cinder blocks here because there's that flexible PVC that I don't want to get crushed from the weight of the dirt when we bury all this. And so I put a lot of thought into this. I'm no plumber, but I think it will work just fine and everything will be okay. Oh. All right, folks. That is the last piece of 2-inch to glue up. I'm so happy I'm done with the 2-inch. It's all done. Comes out of the box there and then goes along with the other 2 pipes, and they're just capped off down here. As I've said before, that's for far into the future for the shop that will be back that direction. Hopefully someday. I've always dreamed of having a nice big shop. Now I just have to finish gluing the 1-inch. Probably got about 30 feet or less of that left to glue up, so it should go pretty quick. Alright, that was it. Underground PVC water pipe is done. There is no more to do with that. We still have the electrical pipe that's got to go on top of it, but the water pipe underground is complete, as you just saw me put together this connection here. So that goes and runs under the trailer. Goes under the trailer and pops up here. It's a little high. So we got a shut off here, and I'm thinking we ought to go with a flexible connection from here to the trailer, and this is where the water heater sits. Whoop, I got some foam board in there. Sits right here. So right where that blob of spray foam is where that pipe has to come through. And we were only able to get it so deep under the trailer. It's about 14, 15 inches. But what we will do is we'll insulate this pipe under the trailer completely, bury it, and then on top of that put a big mound of dirt on top of the whole run there, just to keep it from freezing. And then this part, I believe the idea is we're going to have a heat lamp down here after we enclose this with with skirting. The unfortunate thing is, oh, the weather is working against us. It's a beautiful day right now, but we have a 100% chance of snow coming our way in a day or two. I didn't look to see how much snow that is. It just says 100%. And it's supposed to snow like all day. So we could get, I don't know, 4-6 inches, maybe more.
No.
With a snowy bridge. There you go.
Turn on the heat.
What do you think? This is like our first
Real snow?
real snow.
Yeah, the other ones are just lightly.
We already have like at least 3 inches, probably 4 inches of snow,
Probably.
with
Snowy
more supposed to come today.
That's what I'm grateful for my inside job.
You do have a good inside job. Now let's see if Prius power can get us out of here.
Yeah, I hope so.
Alright guys, we got some really good news. We have here in my hands the paperwork for our septic system from the perk test that we got it's been like 3 weeks, like 3 weeks ago. Anyway, it goes over everything about it. Goes over the soil type, the percentage of rock in it. It goes over setbacks, how far away the area is going to be from either the house or property lines or existing wells, which we don't have. So anyway, there's just a few pages in here I think you guys might find interesting. This one here shows this is the reserve area. That's if this is the leach field right here that we're going to do with our 4 lines, 10-foot spacing in between. We've got our D box, which is the distribution box, and our tank at 1,500 gallons in the proposed area for our house. It's cool. Also, they show the slope here, 2% slope, and then this is a contour line with a 1% slope going that way. This is kind of the breakdown or a cutaway view of what the trenches will look like, 5 foot deep. There's our pipe with 2-inch minimum cover, a 3 foot of gravel underneath that pipe. And then from where the bottom of that pipe sits to the top is 2 foot. It tells you the size of the pipe they want us to use. And yeah, it's pretty simple. This is the list of materials that they printed up for us that we basically just take to the supplier, right? And give them this, and this is everything we need right here. Well, except they don't provide the leach rock. We'll have to get that from a cinder pit. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty cool. Pretty easy. That's it. $500 for the perk test for this. And now we go to the county and hand it over to them.
Wait for them to approve
and,
permits.
and then wait for them to give us the permit to go ahead and work on this, get it installed.
Exciting!
Yes. And
Darla,
cats are
excited?
inside because it's snowing.
It is snowing.
All right. It's a cold and snowy day. Not too cold, just below freezing. But it's going to get real cold tonight. I haven't done much. You can imagine why. But I am about to get this old electrical panel out of our trailer. I figured now is a good time, especially since the trench is here, so that I'm like, I can work on this thing eye level, which is awesome. Is way better than if this were buried and I'd be sitting on the ground. So we're gonna get this taken out and put the new one in. The good news is all of the wire in here is copper. That is a plus, a big plus. Sometimes things this old, 1976, sometimes they come with aluminum wiring. Aluminum is bad. Aluminum expands and contracts a whole lot more than what copper does. Although, you know, it's cheaper to run aluminum and it's not safer, that's for sure. So it'll expand and contract, and what that does, it will loosen up the terminals that your aluminum wire is under, or it will loosen up the wire nuts that are holding your aluminum wires together. So if you have aluminum wiring, it's not the end of the world, but you should have it checked periodically. Your panel should be checked. All your lugs in there, everything should go through with the screwdriver and tighten everything. Only if you know what you're doing. You don't want anyone to get hurt. Electricity hurts and kills. But anyway, copper wire. That's a big plus. And at first sight, first glance here, it all looks like it's in good shape. Of course, I'll look it over again. But yeah, so now comes the part of cleaning that out. There's a mouse living in there. And sizing up my new panel. Panel is all ready. I've got my holes drilled in here that I need. Got the bigger hole for the power to feed the panel. And this little hole is for some 1/2-inch EMT that is going to feed the range inside with the correct size wire. It was ran originally with this 10 gauge, which is too small for a 40 amp stove. So I am changing it out. That Romex just runs right along the frame of the trailer. I'm taking it all out. And then I'm going to pipe EMT down the frame of the trailer and pull 8-gauge wire. I don't know when I'll do that part, but today, at least, I'm going to get this panel put in, get all these wires put in there, and maybe even start wiring up the breakers. That would be nice. There we go. Now it's going. All right. Okie dokie. There it is. Got all the hots landed. Got all the neutrals landed. Some wires were shorter than others. I did not bother shortening any of the long ones. This is not my prettiest panel makeup. Normally they look a lot better, but in the situation here that we're in here, I just want to get it done. So all that's missing are the grounds need to be landed. There's no bus bar. I have to go and buy one and install it. And as well, that 1/2-inch connector there, I got to get some EMT for that to run for the range, which will land on this 40-amp 2-pole. So it's later in the day. It's almost dinner time. I will get that stuff in the morning, and we will continue on this electrical project. See you in the morning.